Hello, and welcome to our Innovation Women Speak webinar series. My name is Bobby Carlton. I am the founder of Innovation Women. Innovation Women is a visibility bureau. Our mission is to eliminate the all male, all pale, and often all stale panels you see so often at industry conferences and events. We connect women with speaking opportunities, and we connect event managers with awesome speakers who just happen to be women. Innovation Women is so much more than a traditional speakers bureau. Event managers can search the database for free, and speakers pay just $100 a year to become a member. That gets you a profile on the platform and access to lists of speaking opportunities, as well as a number of other cool benefits. Here are just a few of the great features on Innovation Women. Event managers can search for speakers, and speakers can also apply for hundreds of speaking opportunities on the platform. Our new Kickstart cohort program can help you get the most out of your Innovation Women membership. Our team provides you with guidance to help you perfect your profile and understand how to work with our extensive list of speaking opportunities. The cohort structure offers you a built in network for accountability and motivation. Every speaker needs a group of speaker friends. You can learn more and register in the attachments and links tab. For our webinar attendees, we have a special offer of 20% off your first year. Use the code IWWebinar, all capital letters, for 20% off. Check it out at innovationwomen.com. And before we get to today's presentation, I encourage you to register for our upcoming webinars. On March 23rd, Nicole Krug will present How to Build Trust Online. You'll learn how your design choices impact customer impressions, the importance of people behind the brand, and how to leverage social proof. You can register for this webinar in the Attachments tab. And speaking of the Attachments tab, this is an annotated version of your screen. Below the video viewing window, there are tabs. The default tab is Ask a Question. You can type in a question or a comment at any point during the program. The Attachments tab is where you'll see documents and links from today's speaker and the link to sign up for future webinars. You can download the attachments at any time during the webinar and from the recording. The tab called Rate This helps us determine what you like. We read all the feedback. You can enlarge your screen to view it in full screen mode. And at any time, if you need help with the audio or the screen freezes, try refreshing the page and feel free to click on the help button at the bottom of the screen. Today's webinar is being recorded, so if you'd like to view this webinar again, you will be able to. We will send you the link after the webinar. Now, on to today's presentation. With us today is Orly Zeewy. Orly is an author, speaker, educator, and brand architect. She's lectured at Wharton and taught in the Closed School of Entrepreneurship at Drexel University, the Fox School of Business and Management at Temple University, and the University of Pennsylvania. Her book, Ready, Launch, Brand, The Lean Marketing Guide for Startups, was published by Routledge in May 2021 and was the #1 new business book released on Amazon in April 2021. Let's get started. Let's take it away, Orly, and welcome.
Well, thank you, Bobby. It's so nice to be here. I'm excited to share my presentation with you. So let's get started. Thank you, everyone who's listening in and sitting in on this presentation. Here we go. Just want to have the slide up here. So today we are going to talk about elevator pitches, and specifically the difference between a sales pitch and an elevator pitch. And at the end of the presentation, I've left time so that you'll be able to put in the questions, you'll be able to put your own elevator pitch, and hopefully I'll get a chance to help a couple of you switch your pitch. So let's get started. The first question is kind of an obvious one. What is an elevator pitch? There seems to be some confusion about this. And the simplest and most basic definition I found is this one. It's really a very short, one to two sentences that creates an interest in a project, an idea, a product, or if you're the personal brand, if you're looking to get interest in your personal brand, then it's you. I actually like to go further than creating interest and think about more as creating a sense of urgency. And I'll talk a lot about how we're going to do that as we go further. But for right now, one of the things I want you to really remember is this. It is not a sales pitch. An elevator pitch is not a sales pitch. And I will tell you what the difference is. But first, I want to take you back and give you the backstory of the elevator pitch. And to do that, I'm going to give you the origin story of where the elevator pitch came from. And the person responsible is Elisha Otis. He is actually the inventor of the elevator. He invented the elevator in 1852, and he founded the Otis Elevator Company. Next time you're in an elevator, take a look, and you should be able to still see the word Otis. It should still be on your elevator. So it's kind of amazing that all these years later that the company still exists. And Elisha Otis is the person who coined the term. And the other thing that, the thing that happened with the elevator, there are a couple of things actually. One is that it was a pretty scary experience. It's not the elevator we think of today, nice and quiet and padded and with nice paneling. It was a metal box and people were terrified of it. To get people to not feel quite as anxious when they got on an elevator, Otis literally piped in soft music so that people would relax. And of course, today we know it as elevator music. So next time you're in an elevator and you hear soft music, you can thank Elisha Otis for this. So how did the elevator pitch even come about? Well, think about it this way. You're in a small space with people that you may or may never see again, and you have this opportunity to speak to them about what you do. And so enterprising business people use that time, a few minutes while they were going to the next floor to pitch their idea, and the elevator pitch was born. So if Otis coined the term, when it really became, when it went up to the next level was through Hollywood. And this is the story. The story goes like this, that a screenwriter would spot a director or producer and get on the elevator with them and pitch their idea for a screenplay. And if the director liked it, they would stay on and listen further. If they didn't, they got out at the first opportunity. So you didn't have a whole lot of time between floors to get your idea across. And that's really when the whole idea of a pitch was really born. So now I want to talk to you a little bit about why it's a different thing, a sales pitch and an elevator pitch, why they're not the same thing. A sales pitch is all about the what and the how. Think about last time you were at some kind of a networking event, and of course now we're all virtual. So you're sitting in breakout room, or you're having a chance to talk to somebody in a virtual hallway, and you ask them what they do. You ask them about their business, and they immediately launch what they do, how they do it, how great it is. Talking about their product launch, right? That's the what and the how. And the problem with that is it really assumes that somebody actually knows what you do and that they already care about it. It also tends to shut people down, because really what they want to know is the why. And by that, I mean why you're the person, right, they should talk to, why they would want to hear more about what you do. And it's really about selling them on you as a solution to a problem that you've identified, a problem that your customer really struggles with. And the reason why this is important is you think about, a sales pitch, I'm sure some of you have heard this, everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold. And the idea behind an elevator pitch is not to sell somebody. It's really to get them to want to have a conversation with you. It's almost like an icebreaker, but in a business setting. And the other thing is that when you focus on the why, it shows that you're an expert. Because if you've identified a problem that really matters and you have a solution for it, that tells people that you know what you're doing. Instead of talking about how great the company is, or how much people love your product, it's really just kind of presenting this as, this is really why why this matters to our clients. So now I'm going to walk you through the elevator pitch building blocks, and there's a few steps. And I have found, I've spent a lot of time on this, and I have found that these are the steps to really creating, because the idea, again, is to create a memorable and succinct elevator pitch. Because remember, you have less than a minute. And if you've ever been on Bobby's Friday mornings, you have 15 seconds. And I want to take this minute here to thank Bobby for helping me really hone in on my pitch, because when you only have 15 seconds, that's not a lot of time. So you want to choose your words really carefully. So the first step is make me curious. And I've always loved this because as human beings, right, we are curious. We're just curious people. We want to know, we want to learn. And so the way to do that, you ask a question, you share a data point. You really try, what you really want to do is get people thinking about what you're going to talk about, right? So you want to kind of set the stage. So asking a question is a great way to do that. The next thing is identify a real problem. And by that, I mean, not your problem, but the problem that your customer really struggles with. Now that, of course, I'm making it seem really simple. And of course, we know that it's never quite that simple. In order to identify a real problem, my hope is that you've spent a lot of time researching this. You've talked to your clients. You've really checked in with them and said, what are you struggling with? And then looked at what you're offering and seen if there's a way that you can adjust what you offer to better address that problem. One of the things I talk about this in my book as well, is this idea that, you do not want to be a solution looking for a problem. What you want to be is a solution to a real problem that someone is actually struggling with, that they will realize, that they've identified as something, what's keeping your customers up at night. And then, of course, if you identify a problem, you want to be the solution. And, as a parent, I've always loved this, this idea that don't ask your kids a question that you don't want to know the answer to. But as a business, never ask a question that you don't have the solution to, the answer to. You want to really be the answer to that question. So you want to really be very mindful of the way you ask the question, the kind of question that you ask, and make sure that your solution fits. And then the paint a picture. So this part, I'm gonna a caveat here. The first three are really the pitch. This piece is really when you're talking to someone one-on-one. Now, back before the pandemic, when we were in rooms with people and we had a chance to come back to them and maybe talk a little bit further and sit down with them, have a cup of coffee or whatever, you could do that. But now in the virtual world, what I have found works best is what you want to do is create the interest with the question, the problem, and solution to give somebody enough information that if they're a good fit for you, you schedule a one-on-one, and that's when you paint the picture. So I wanted to just kind of separate these two because, of course, they used to all be part of the same, and now things are different. So by paint a picture, what I mean is tell a story. As humans, we love stories. We connect through stories. And it's a way to really engage. Because remember, the purpose of your pitch is to engage, is to get people to want to know more about what you do, to actually, pique their interest. And then, of course, the last is practice. And what I have found, again, speaking of Innovation Women in our Friday mornings, it's a great opportunity to hone your pitch. You're in front of people who want you to succeed. They're there to support you. So it's a great place to practice. And so I use these opportunities when I'm on networking events, when I'm in breakout rooms, to try out different pitches. And so as a result, I now can I'm going to walk you through my elevator pitch. And it's changed, and sometimes it's a little different, but this is where I am today. And so I'm going to walk you through I do the same steps that I just mentioned, right? So I'm going to show you kind of what does that look like, give you the example here. So as I said, number one, make me curious. So here's what I say, because this is my space. We are being messaged at the rate of 12,000 messages a day. That translates to roughly 4 million messages a year. And the question I ask you is, are you cutting through the noise? And that's a really interesting question, because most people don't think about it, right? You put your website out there and you just assume somebody's going to show up, and lo and behold, you're going to end up with a phone call, or somebody's going to send you an email. And I hate to burst your bubble on this, but there are currently 1.8 billion websites in the world, and almost none of them get any visitors. So it's not enough to just be out there. You have to cut through the noise, right? So this is really kind of in big picture. This is where we begin the conversation. Then I talk about the problem. Again, the problem of my ideal customer. I am not trying to, if you don't get that problem, you're not my customer, and that's okay. So what's the problem? Generic messaging speaks to no one and makes you invisible. Now, I say it this way because most people I meet and most people I've worked with do generic messaging. In fact, they believe that by keeping it generic, they're going to cover more space. It's kind of this idea that if you put a big net out in the ocean, maybe you'll catch a whale. And I'm here to tell you it doesn't work that way. It's because we don't have the time. And again, if you only have less than about 30 seconds to get somebody's attention, and you don't have the time, people aren't going to take the time to really figure out, is this something for me? And I see this a lot on homepages, on website homepages, where I land on a homepage. I have no idea what I'm doing here. I have no idea what you do. I have no idea if it's even something I would care about. Instead, it's all internally focused, and the messaging is all about, our great company and how we've been voted #1 place to work. None of that stuff matters to me. I just want to know, why am I here and why I should care. And it's the same for LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a absolute amazing platform for business. The problem is that, again, it's generic messaging is never going to get you people who you really want to talk to. And so that's kind of how generic messaging shows up. So the solution, again, like I said, you stated the problem. So what's the solution, right? If it's generic messaging is the problem that makes you invisible, this is what I do. I make fuzzy clear. Now, at this point, if I get deer in headlights, you're not my client. And that's okay, actually. Not only is it okay, but it's what you want. An elevator pitch, people keep thinking like, oh, it's about selling. It's about getting people to buy what I do. It's also about making sure that you're talking to the right person. So when I get deer of headlight, I'm thinking, wow, this is awesome. That means I don't have to keep going. I can just ask them about what they do, and that's all right. So what you really want to hear, of course, is tell me more. So I make fuzzy clear. What do? I turn generic messaging into clear marketing messages that attract your ideal customers and help you scale fast. So if you're a startup, if you're a solopreneur, if you're a small to medium-sized business that's looking to go to the next level, if you don't have the right messaging, nothing is going to work. And I'll tell you why, because marketing, sales and marketing, you need to have it based on something that people actually care about. So think of it as like, this is really the first step to ensuring that what you do next will be successful. So like I said, the next step is tell me a story. So I'm going to share with you a story about one of my clients, and it's a summer day camp in northeastern Pennsylvania called Jefferson Lake Camp. And it turns out that they've been messaging about their lake for decades. Now, it's understandable. The name lake, the word lake is in their name. But here's the problem. Again, going back to this idea of generic messaging, right? They've been messaging about their lake for over 30 years. So I rebranded them, and as part of the rebrand process, we did an online survey, and 100 families responded. So they had lots of data, right? Lots of really solid feedback that we could point to. And there were two questions that I wanted to get the answers to. And the first was, what's the number one reason you send your kids here? And out of 100 people, guess how many people mentioned the lake? One person mentioned the lake. And it turns out they didn't really care about the lake at all as a reason why they sent their kids there, or why they told their friends about sending their kids there. Families sent their kids there because they had fun and they took risks. And in fact, what's so interesting about all this is that, for all these years, they had been going down and they've been losing kids because they kept messaging around something that nobody cared about. So this was the logo. And I told you that there were two things that I wanted to find out. So one was why they sent their kids there. The other question I asked was, what do you think about our logo? And the response I got was, what logo? Literally, what logo? They didn't even see it. This is a logo they'd had for 30 years and nobody remembered it. And that's because, going back to what I said earlier, if you're messaging on the wrong thing, the logo is not going to work either, because the logo can't fix the wrong focus, right? So as you can see, it's all about the lake. And if you don't care about the lake, you're not even going to notice it, because we notice things that matter to us. So out of all of this, and I'm condensing, 4 months worth of work in 4 slides, but the next slide is, this is what they now say. This is their tagline: the place where small kids do big things. And why this is important is because families with multiple children send all their kids there. And so what was happening is that, as a result of this, right, the big kids could tell their siblings, when you get older, you can go to Jefferson Lake. And so this is now how they talk about that, how they talk about their the reason why you want to go here. And this is their new logo. And what's interesting about this is you see a child jumping off the lake, right? You can see that. That child could also be jumping off the side of a swimming pool, the edge of a swimming pool. It could also be off the edge of a boat. So the idea of the lake is still there, but it's not about the lake. It's about the experience that children have on the lake. And the last piece of, when you paint a picture, you always want to remember to end with results. So the results here were, there's now a waiting list in March. And prior to the rebrand, they still had open slots in July. So the right messaging makes a huge difference. And they're still using this. I think it's now been about 6 years. They're still using the same messaging that I helped them create. So this is the end of the portion of my presentation. This is one of my favorite Maya Angelou quotes. And in terms of the elevator pitch, what I want you to remember is this: that you want people to feel something when they hear your pitch. And whether it's a sense of urgency that they're going to miss out on something, or whether it's that you're the person they want to talk to when they have this problem, or they just thought of somebody who, in my case, somebody who just started a business and they're having a really hard time getting customers, and they're really confused about how to talk about what they do. They're going to remember my pitch, and they're going to refer me. So don't forget that it's not just about the person you're talking to right now. It's about the possibility that person could be a referral for you. Okay, so now we are at the end of my presentation, and we'll take questions. So Bobby, I don't know if should I end the slides for a moment, and I'll come back to it. I think I'll just do that.
Sure.
There we go. Thank you, Bobby.
All right. Now, one of the things I did while you were speaking, Orly, is I took you up on your incredibly kind offer to give people feedback on their
Great,
pitches.
great.
So we do have already a number of
Oh,
people
wow.
who have put their pitches in. So let's jump right into that. And actually, if you have questions as well, absolutely drop questions into the Ask a Question tab. We can get to those as well. Alrighty, so our first pitch here is I'm a transitions organizational strategist and coach, and I partner with women midlife to navigate life transitions and coach them through the process. So
Wow.
this is our first pitch. This is not me. This
No,
is somebody
it's
who is doing amazing
yeah,
things.
I mean,
Not me.
it's a lot to unpack. Can I see it? I like to see it as well as hear it,
Absolutely.
'cause
So if you
then I
click
can
on the question mark on the side of the screen, you can see the
there we
pitches.
go. Got it. Okay.
There we go.
Uh, so transit. Okay. So whoops. Uh, okay. Transition. Okay. So the way that I reframe these is to first think about who you're working with. So, is it, so I guess I don't know if I can get, normally I would do this as a Q&A, but, but the idea that really what you're doing is you work with women in midlife transitions to ease the process of to ease their process, right? I mean, that's basically, I coach. You could say I coach women in midlife to more easily navigate the transition and be more successful, right? Again, you want to focus on what's the outcome. What is it that you want to help these women do? Transitional organizational strategists and that's a lot for somebody to unpack. And so I would suggest that you focus on the thing that they get, which is coaching from you. And the result is that they're able to go through this process more easily. It's not so painful. It's not so scary. It's not so lonely, right? Pick one of those. And that's how I would rethink your pitch. Yeah.
All right. Our next pitch that someone put in here is from Joan. And Joan is looking for any tips that you can offer her. She talks about how to use clear, concise, verbal, and written communication skills to move up in your company or transition to your own enterprise.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. So I'll take the first one, which is moving up into in your own in the company you're in now. What you want to do is, and this is where storytelling and painting a picture is so important. Find an example of something that you did that had amazing results. And when you have the conversation, you can say, I really enjoyed, or I really, when this and this happened, I was so gratified to hear that X, Y, and Z happened, right? So you give a real example and you're positioning yourself as the expert. When if you were to start your own enterprise, you want to pick one thing. And this is where I get I have these conversations a lot with my clients and with students too, entrepreneurship students, when I was teaching at the Close School, they want to do everything. They're like, well, what I do would work for everybody. It's like, well, that may be true. But in terms of marketing, as you know, Bobby, it's really expensive to market to everybody. And and the number one reason, by the way, that startups fail is they run out of money. So they run out of money. And then the other one is I take that back. That's the second reason. The number one reason is there's no market need. Then because they haven't done the things I've just talked about, which is really, have you identified that you're solving a real problem? So I would pick the one thing that you do really well and that you actually enjoy doing. And I would really kind of communicate around that. And I would also suggest, before you start your company, try to find early adopters. And I would strongly suggest that you read the Steve Blank book, the Lean Marketing Guide, Well, that's Eric Rice, but there's also an online course around the lean marketing, about lean startups. Sorry, I wrote about lean marketing. This is the lean startup. Mine was meant to be the kind of the company's this, right? So yeah, the idea that you want to make sure that you're solving a real problem for a real person.
Okay. Our next pitch for feedback on is I'm a home kitchen consultant. I help people realize their ideal kitchen by improving what they already have or thinking through their plans for a new one.
Okay, let me where I want to see where this is. Ah, here it is. Help people real. Okay. Okay, so one of the things I would strongly suggest is stay away from words that are passive. Helping somebody realize is very passive. Not, and I don't mean this as a criticism. I just mean that it comes across as, "Oh, that's nice. I can get help from you." There's no sense of urgency. So instead, is you would say, "I help people create their ideal kitchen and think through." I would say it's really about, I help people create their ideal kitchen. Period. Really.
That's that's one floor.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it doesn't mean that you don't say more, but you start there, right? Because what somebody's going to say is, well, how do you do that? Yeah. Hope that was
All right.
helpful.
And a
Yeah.
quick question. I mean, I had an idea on this. Like with the kitchen consultant, would it be good for them to kind of like ask a question like, "Do you hate your
Yes.
kitchen?"
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I wasn't backing it up, but the first thing you want to do is kind of get on the same page with your clients. So, or you could say, what doesn't work for you in your kitchen?
Mm,
Right. So
nice.
again, it's about engaging someone. And I love HGTV and I watch a lot of these remodels. And the first thing they say is, what doesn't work for you? What isn't working? What would you like to see in your kitchen? What would be your ideal kitchen? Right. So it's starting a dialogue. And by the way, Bobby, this is a really great point that you just made, is by asking these questions, what you're really doing is you're already engaging that person in the process. It's like they can already see themselves working with you.
All right. Our next one. I help small IT companies who are technically skilled but can't deal with growth, managing teams or their organization. I am the IT manager I wanted to have when I was a developer for the 15 years of my career.
So I guess what I would ask is, I'm not quite clear on what growth means, because growth means something different for everyone. But
Mm.
if you're talking about growing your team or growing revenue, or right, I don't know, right? Is it about you're having trouble communicating why people should hire you? I'm not sure I have quite enough information. But you could say, if you wanted to just kind of keep it to what I see here, you could say, I'm the IT manager I wish I'd had when I was a developer.
Okay. All right. The next one. Rebecca is a private consulting arborist with a focus on outreach and education. Her company is Arborholic. I'm addicted to helping trees and the people who care for them.
Oh my God, I love that. Arbaholic. Wow. Oh, that's really fun. Thank you, Rebecca. That kind of made me laugh. So, I think we can take out the whole private consulting arborist. You could just say, I think it's really about, could say I'm an educational an educational tree consultant. And
I speak for the trees.
I speak for the
Oh, wait a minute. That's the Lorac.
not quite Bobby, but that's good. I like that. So you could say I'm a tree consultant. I'm a tree consultant, right? I would stay away from arborist. And even though I do like arbaholic, I think it's a little hard to say, and it sounds a lot like alcoholic. I'm not sure. Like that might be something you might want to revisit at some point. Not everybody knows what an arborist is. So I don't know if you're talking to people who are really well versed in this, or is it, I'm a tree doctor, right? I'm a tree doctor. I help trees and the people who care for them.
Okay. Our next one. Have more fun while spending less with Earns, the only app connecting you with what's happening at great local businesses in real time.
Hey Max, I know who this is. So oh, thank you for being here, Max. That's funny. So okay, only app connecting you with what's happening. Okay. So Ernst is the only app that connects you to great. I would say Ernst is a local, because I'm assuming that at some point you might have one in each city or areas, so I don't know what your growth plans are, but you could say that Ernst is the only app that connects you with great local businesses in real time.
I have to ask a question for this. And, the question I would ask is what happens when you're connected with those local
I agree.
businesses? Like, are you supporting them? Are you buying from
Yeah,
them? Like, there's a lot that I don't know. Now, back to Orly, what you were saying before, the whole, getting people interested in a conversation, that would do it for me.
exactly. And again, you're just piquing someone's interest. That's why, using like instead of an arborist talking about, I'm a tree doctor. That already makes it seem like it's kind of fun and interesting, and I want to know more. With Ernst, you're describing what this is, and so you're back in the what and the how. And I think you need to go back to the why. Like, why would somebody actually download this app? And of course, and if you want, we can talk offline about this. But yeah, I think you're right, Bobby. I think there's some missing links here.
Okay. And just as Orly was saying, we will provide her information for you to connect with her later, as well as there is information to connect with her outside of today's presentation. And that information is in the attachments and links tab. Okay. We still have more,
Okay,
Orly. Many
go.
people want you to give feedback on their
This is
pitches.
so fun.
The
Yeah,
next
let's do
one.
it.
All right, the next one. I create order out of chaos. Very similar to Orly's I make fuzzy clear. I am brought in to project manage crisis situations or complex efforts that need wrangling.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's very down here. Okay. Um, let's see. Huh. I like, there's some really great words in here. I would say I like this. I create order out of chaos. I think that's a great place to begin the conversation, and I would leave that, and then say, I manage. I turn crisis situations into, right. I take crisis situations because you're saying you're creating order out of chaos. So I'd want to know what happens after, right? It's not, again, this is more about the what and the how, right? I wrangle, I manage these situations that need wrangling, but what I want to know is what do they actually get, right? So and I would take out all the stuff about I'm brought into, that's a given. Again, you've got, you have about 30 seconds. So really it's, I create order out of chaos and I turn crisis situations into, and I would fill in the blank there. Calm. Or maybe as a result, I help crisis, I help managers, let's see, I'm brought in to project manage. So I take crisis situations and I make them, I manage, I turn them into, I don't know about calm, but it's somehow like it saves people money. It creates less craziness in the workplace. It helps, it goes to employee retention. So again, there always has to be the, what is in it for me? What do I get? And so I would suggest that you think a little bit about what is the real like bang for the buck here.
Got it. All right. Our next one is from Eileen, and she is the owner of Admin on Call. So she's an executive assistant on the run, and her company provides office management and organization to professional business women, small business owners, and entrepreneurs looking to grow their business by providing efficient time management services.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack, Eileen. So you could say, I would take out all the stuff about you and just say admin on call. Admin on call is your company, right? Provides, right? Admin on call. Let's see, brings, not provides, and take out office because you're talking to office people. So I would say admin on call provides, brings organization to small business owners and entrepreneurs to help them grow their business.
Okie doke. All right, next one. Are you looking for a simple way to make self care a priority? We offer simple, effective ways to make you feel and look good on the inside and out.
So back to what you said earlier, Bobby, I don't know who the customer is. So it's hard for me to like, that could mean different things for different people. So if it's somebody who is going to be on stage as a TED Talk speaker, that would look a lot different than somebody who is struggling with health issues. And I think, I don't like the word simple because it's never simple, because when you're literally educating somebody, and as we know, change is hard. So I think it's more, are you looking for an effective way to make self-care a priority? And then I would drill down into who is that person and what is the goal, right? So it's working backwards. You figure out who the person is, what their goal is, and then you tailor your pitch really to them.
Okay. Our next one is from a funeral disruptor. I help families create
Wow.
customized, meaningful memorial services as unique as their loved ones.
So I would definitely take the word disruptor out of there. Because are you talking to so you're a funeral director, so you're talking to people at the most critical, painful, emotionally distraught moment in their life. And so that's not the time to talk about disruption. It's the time to talk about, you can trust me, I'm here to help you, I'm going to help you navigate this whole thing. I don't think that customized and meaningful is really the key here, but having gone through picking a coffin for my mom, I can tell you that I could barely focus on anything. So I think the key here is to kind of step back and think about the person in that moment. What did they really want to hear? And I think what they really want to hear is that you honor the person they lost, and you do it in a thoughtful, caring, loving, all of those like feel good kind of words. But I would not use the word disruptor here.
Okay. Next one. I am a certified life coach. I will support you to move from where you are to where you want to be. Through guided exploration and exercises, you will learn to make decisions based on informed choices rather than habitual reactions. New perspectives will lead to more successful approaches to life's challenges.
So I noticed that the person who put in
Yeah.
they're not a funeral director. So I didn't understand what that was. And I think that's part of, why this is hard to do without having a conversation. So I apologize if I missed that. But even if you're not a funeral director, what you want is, it's not, because there are funeral directors who are all those things, caring, wonderful, they're not all just selling a whole package that's going to be a lot of money, which I don't know. Again, I also don't know which denomination you're looking at. I don't, there's a lot of unanswered questions. But if you want to put in kind of where, that, it's so you're focusing, if I'm getting this right, you're not focusing on picking a coffin or a package, but really about the service. Is that correct? If you could put that in there, because I want to.
Yeah, I think one of the things where people use the word disruption is often they are changing something and they're offering something in a non-traditional
Right. No, I
sense.
understand.
So maybe non-traditional?
Yeah, I feel like it's just the word disruptor just kind of like doesn't quite fit the audience, I think.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it's about, I wouldn't even say non-traditional, because you could be talking to people who are very traditional. I think it's really about honoring the memory of your loved ones. And you're going to make that process somehow more meaningful, better. It's going to really be about the person and not necessarily about the thingy things that are part of, of doing the funeral, but really about honoring. I think that's where that's kind of where I would go with this. I hope that was helpful, and apologies that I didn't understand what you were saying there. All right, so let's go back.
All right. We're moving on
Life
to our
coach.
life
Okay,
coach
life
here.
coach. Here we go. Let's see. So
Certified
got
life
it.
coach.
So first of all, every coach does this, right? Every coach supports, right, and helps you get from where you are to where you want to be. So again, since I don't know who you're talking to, is it leadership coaching? Is it, for speakers? I don't quite know. Is it just around life and having your best life? So I think it's really, and again, you don't need to say who you are, because the whole point is to get people to want to learn more about you. So I think focusing on, you could say, I use guided exploration to help you make decisions that will help you to make decisions to build your best life. You could do something like that. And again, just getting out of all this new perspective, because now you're explaining, right? The moment you start talking about new perspectives will lead to, that's really the what and the how. And all we want to focus here is on the why. So you could say, if guided exploration is, and you don't have to talk about exercises again, because now that sounds like work. You want to keep it you want to keep it more high level than that, and make people feel like it's going to be not easy, but the support comes from the fact that that you're going to take me through, and it's already implied, so you don't have to say it. Yeah.
All right. Our next one, this person has initials. The initials of
Y to
their
Z. Yeah.
company is Y to Z. So Mac and Apple support
Mhm.
Y to Z LLC, supporting users who know their stuff from A to X, but need some help to get from Y to Z using their Apple devices.
Wow. Yeah,
Clever.
very high Yoav. I know him as well. He was in my book talk a couple of weeks ago. Nice to see you here. Thank you for coming. So I love this. I actually really like this. I think it's I work with Mac users, right? Because is it all Mac users? Yeah, it looks like it is. Right.
Looks
Yeah,
like it.
I work with Mac users who know their stuff from A to X, but need us to take them from Y to Z. I mean, I think you've already got, like, there's a really fun story here, and I really love the way you're using language. So I wouldn't change it that much. I would just take myself out of that. And again, there's another thing that I've learned is ing words tend to be very passive. So you want to kind of stay away from that and use more direct action words. Like, you could say, we support, right? We help, we bring you, we move you from Y to Z, right? So, but I like what you're doing with the A to X and Y to Z. I think that's really well done.
All right, our next one. I help managers and executives stop wasting talent and avoid tunnel vision.
Okay, so I don't know anything about you. I don't know like what you actually do to do that, right? To help them. But I like the idea of, I think this goes to retention and hiring. So our process, our process, or our company, or our product, or our app, or whatever it is, right? Or we teach managers, or we support managers, help them. We help you, because now if you're talking to manager and executive, you don't have to spell it out. You're already talking to them, right? So we help you avoid losing talent and avoid tunnel vision so you can increase your employee retention. I think that's really what you're saying here.
Okay. Next one. I am a facilitator of fun. I do this in 2 ways.
Uh,
Help groups bond and celebrate by hosting a virtual game show and coaching individuals and communities to feel more confident for live appearances online and in person. It's all about helping people step into the spotlight.
oh, this is great. I love this. So I think facilitator of fun is great. I would start with that. I would say I'm a facilitator of fun. I help people step into the spotlight feeling with more confidence. I help people step into the spotlight with more confidence. Just with more confidence, so they can be more successful. Grow their speaking business, something to that effect. But I wouldn't get into the game show. I would talk more about, again, if you're really focusing on, see, I don't quite understand. Again, we don't have the time for me to really dig deeper into the game show aspect, but I love this. I'm a facilitator of fun. And I love the idea that, what you do is you help people step into the spotlight with more confidence. That's really basically what you're saying. Yeah.
Cool. We have got just 2 more pitches or time for just 2 more pitches today. All right. The next one. I help executives who happen to be in the minority be heard and seen so they can create the career breakthroughs they are looking for.
Okay. So I don't understand. Are you talking about, when you say in the minority, are you talking in terms of race, gender? Are you talking about specifically minorities, or I don't quite understand what that is. So it's hard for me to, I would do it differently depending on what you might, what you're really focusing on. I think it's, we help you create the career breakthroughs you're looking for, depending on who you're talking to. Keep it really simple. Yeah.
Now, I feel like the next one, we have 2 options for this one. This person submitted 2.
Oh my.
So, and maybe they submitted it because they were hearing the feedback. So let's take the second one that came in first.
All right. One that came in first. That's a good way of, I like that, Bobby. That's good.
Yes. Okay. We make people feel good. At Wellness and Retreats, we provide a variety of effective spa services to make self-care a priority. We offer private spa parties and retreats to help you reconnect with family, friends, and staff, and we educate people on how to make wellness a lifestyle.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to unpack too. So again, I would just say Wellness and Retreats provides, right? I take out all that other stuff. Just go to Wellness and Retreats provides spa services that help make self-care a priority. Or you could focus on the groups, and you can say, looking for private spa parties, come to Wellness and Retreats. We offer, we help you make self-care a priority, something like that. Yeah.
All right, cool. Okay, gang, that was fun.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Bobby, I just want to put that slide for how people can, because I have 2 giveaways.
Absolutely. That was where I was headed with this. So let's, we're going to put the slide up so everyone knows how to get a hold of Orly.
So I actually didn't put my information here because I knew that you were putting it in the attachments. So
yes, the attachments is absolutely where you can go and get all the contact information. I do see Orly's email here if you want to email her.
So yes, I just put that in. Yes. So I have two offers today. One is that you can get my book at a 20% discount. My publisher Routledge has graciously agreed to offer that discount And so if you go to this, if you use this link and go to Routledge Publishing, and then at checkout, put in this discount code and you'll get a 20% off. And in terms of the giveaway that I'm giving personally is a 1-hour strategy session at a 10% discount through March 14th, 2022. I did not put the year because it didn't occur to me that this would go on past this year. So, and so you'll get a 10% discount for anyone who signs up from now until March 14th.
Fantastic.
And I know there's a LinkedIn link as well. So please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Always happy to connect with folks there.
All right. Thank you so much. And today, just so everybody knows, this live event was brought to you by Lioness Magazine and my speaker leads. Lioness Magazine is an online publication and the go-to source for everything related to being a female entrepreneur. My speaker leads delivers 100+ event leads per week directly to your inbox. We are a research service specifically for professional speakers. Thank you, Orly, and to everyone who joined us today from home or your office. Don't forget to use the code IW Webinar to sign up for 20% off your first year membership on Innovation Women, and give us feedback on this presentation. What did you think? Have a great day, everyone, and make it a great one with a terrific elevator pitch.
Thank
So
you.
thank you, Orly.
Thank you so much, Bobby. And thank you everyone who submitted their questions. I really enjoyed reading them.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.